What's up, everybody? Mancave Dave here in Michigan with a pickups video. This is some stuff that I got, probably about a month ago. I was reached out to by a gentleman named Anthony. Anthony, thank you so much for giving me a shout and having me come on out and check out and have the opportunity to buy your collection. So Anthony had a rummage sale and met a guy named Steve there. And they got to talking about toys and collectibles. And Steve says, well, hey, I know this guy Mancave Dave. Maybe you should reach out to him and he might be interested. So big shout out to Steve. Steve, thank you so much for helping make those connections. Steve comes out. We've seen him at a few of the shows that we've been at, been able to do some trades. So just really appreciative of you and really appreciative. I appreciate the connection there, and even if nothing transacts, just being able to talk with someone who really appreciates this stuff and has a lot of the same memories I do. So Anthony invited us to come on out. My good friend Kenzie went with, and we pulled up, and he had a couple of tables, and all of this goodness was on the table. And so we talked a bit, and letting go of this stuff can be hard sometimes. And I always want to make sure that people are ready because there's a lot of memories and a lot of emotion attached to this. And Anthony said, no, I'm ready. It's time. I'm glad it's going to go out to somebody and other people who will enjoy it. So starting over here, we have a Terrordrome, G.I. Joe Cobra Terrordrome. It's not complete. There's some of the blue parts missing and one of the big gun turrets. It does have the fire bat inside, which is awesome. So this will be a great piece for someone who wants to maybe complete one or just have one to be able to start working on in their collection. Really awesome thing here, Dark Tower game. These, if you ever find these out in the wild, make sure you pick them up. They can be quite valuable, sell for a few $100s. So I need to go through this one. Anthony said it was pretty complete, maybe missing a couple of parts. So I'm excited to dig into that and see what's all there. Then we have the G.I. Joe headquarters, and I'm not as familiar with this. It's a little bit newer. Well, newer being from the 90s. I guess that's not so new anymore. Funny how that works. So clean that up, check it out, and get that on out to somebody else who will enjoy it. This is really awesome. So the Batcave Command Center, I'm not sure if this was from maybe Batman Returns. I really enjoy the 1989 Batman and Batman Returns. And I go back and forth on whether or not I'm going to hang on to this in my collection. It's just such a cool piece. It's so big, though. And even though the box is all faded, it's there. And so I think this might be missing maybe one belt piece, something else. But just a really, really interesting piece. So then we have a whole bunch of mostly 90s-esque, late 80s, early 90s G.I. Joe, along with some other good stuff mixed in. So I am not as familiar with the 90s G.I. Joe, but I'm excited to dig in and check them out. And most of them have all of, if not, well, hopefully all, most if not all of their accessories. And just really neat to see these guys rock and roll. And then there's some other stuff mixed in here too. Like we got this guy, we've got Hobgoblin, a couple Ninja Turtle pieces here. We got the Sandman in the back, and then a whole bunch of vintage Star Wars, which is just awesome. Now, one of the things I need to do, if it's a collection that comes out of an attic and it's covered in dust, I'm pretty positive the accessories are original. I'm not sure, the history of these, and so I need to do some research and some looking, just because it's always important to me to make sure the accessories that I have with figures are original to that line and to that time. I don't want to sell bootlegs or knockoffs of the accessories, and so I'm going to do some tests with there, the float test, the maker mark test, all that kind of good stuff, and see what we've got. We also have this case, vintage case with some more Star Wars figures in it. Let's see here, whole bunch of stuff here. Nice looking Yoda back there. But to give you an example, I don't know if I can do this quickly. Let's see here. So here are a couple of the guns from the Snowtrooper. And you can just see that there are differences. Now, it might just be different versions, but like this is more square, this is more round as far as that little piece that sticks out. So need to, again, do a little bit more research there and figure out if all of them are original and just different versions, or if there's any bootlegs I need to get rid of. But just a whole stack here. And sorry if the plastic is loud in the earphones there. This is really neat. Some of the Street Fighter pieces, figures from G.I. Joe. and some of the bigger line. And there's a few vintage guys in here too, which is nice. Oh, some more Star Wars under there. We got here Metalhead. There's just so much here. It's awesome. A little overwhelming at times, but awesome. So yeah, oh, here's this Lifeline. So a few older pieces in here, which is nice. So I'm at a point I need to re-go through my collection and figure out what I'm going to keep. At one point, I'd wanted to go through and keep all of the 82 to 94 O-ring figures, but I think I might do a cutoff in there somewhere in the late 80s, where the emotional connection isn't as strong. And I'll probably keep some of the later figures that are just really neat, like the Ninjas and maybe some of the Street Fighters. But some of these, that's kind of cool looking too. Anyway, we'll see. So then we got some more vehicles. We have a whale, missing a few parts, but a lot of the stuff that's missing is there. Some more of the newer figures. This is pretty cool. Street Fighter version of the Dragonfly. And what was this? Can't remember. Anyway, some pretty neat stuff there. The Hiss newer version of the Hiss tank, I think, is really cool too. So all in all, we went back and forth on an offer. I made an offer, and it was a little bit lower than where he was hoping to be, but we were able to make a good compromise there, and both felt pretty good with it. That's one of those areas that I continue to struggle with and try to get better at. Is I always want to be fair to the people that I buy stuff from. That's important. I also need to be fair to me with that too. I know I've had a couple of collections that I bought that, and part of it is just learning that after I found out I paid right around retail for that. And, again, you live, you learn, you make some mistakes along the way. But at the end of the day, all of this is working out pretty well. And it's so much fun to meet all of you folks at the shows and get your comments. And again, big thank you to Anthony for sharing his collection with me. And big thank you to Steve for helping facilitate that. So, from here in Michigan, this is Mancave Dave, and hope to see you out there on the road soon. Take care.